Ravens fans, how's it going? Welcome into Ravens Rundown. This is your host, Will Scott, breaking down the free agent targets for the Ravens after the NFL draft. And, we're going to start to see some dominoes fall. Earlier today, we saw Tyrann Mathieu sign with the Saints. Trey Turner signed with Washington. So two of the top free agents off the board, but still plenty of big names that could go to Baltimore, including Jarvis Landry. Juice is our number one free agent target for the Baltimore Ravens, and that's because the Ravens have a big need right now at wide receiver after trading Marquise Hollywood Brown to the Arizona Cardinals in a trade that I think shocked pretty much everybody. The Ravens received the 23rd overall pick. They traded a few spots back, ultimately took Tyler Linderbaum, who was an absolute steal. But they traded Hollywood Brown. They traded a third-round pick as well. So that's tough. I mean, to lose a player like Brown, who's not going to be easy to replace, because you look at this Ravens wide receiver depth chart. You have Rashad Bateman. You have Devin Duvernay. But you look at that list, I just don't know if that's going to cut it for Lamar Jackson if the Ravens want to be on top at the end of the season. So I think it's important to bring somebody in free agency. Jarvis Landry could be that guy. And you want to talk about someone who has been incredibly productive his entire career. Was on LSU with Odell Beckham Jr., was a standout there. He comes into the NFL and is a beast in the National Football League. Each and every single year, he's been productive. Now, he missed a couple games last year. That's why the numbers were a little bit down. So with or without Landry, I think we can all agree that the Ravens do need to sign another wide receiver. So get down in the comments right now. Type your Y for yes or your in for no. It's the pinned comment on today's video. So when you're here with an ad break here in a few seconds, go down and let me know what you think. Number 2 on our list here, Jadeveon Clowney, another Cleveland Brown who, much like Landry, has had a very successful career in the NFL. And, each and every single year we talk about, he's getting a little bit older. Is the production going to go down? The production did not go down in 2021. 9 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 37 tackles, was fantastic for the Cleveland Browns. And look, when you look at the Baltimore Ravens defense right now, I think Jadeveon Clowney would be a great fit. Yes, you did draft David Ojabo. That was an outstanding selection. He's going to be great for years to come, but he's not going to play much this year because of the torn Achilles, and that's not something he tore last season. That's something he tore after the season at his pro day. Very unfortunate timing, but you got a guy in the second round that was a surefire top 15 pick. It was great value taking Ojabo. I actually think he's going to play this year, but probably not until maybe week 11 or week 12. So just another reason to bring in a guy like Jadeveon Clowney to maybe a one-year deal. Let's give him a one-year prove-it deal, see what he can do, and that'd be a team-friendly deal if you can get him on a one-year deal. I don't know if he'd sign a one-year deal. I know that there's some other teams that are very much pursuing him, including the Cleveland Browns. In fact, that might be the most likely scenario at this point, him going back to Cleveland. What we need to do is get to 6,000 followers. Subscribers. We just surpassed 5,000 subscribers. You're going to get Ravens videos all year long, multiple videos per week. We're not one of those seasonal channels that'll just talk about the draft or just talk about each game. We're going to be breaking down Ravens news and rumors throughout the entire offseason, so go hit that big red sub button right now. Number 3 on our list here, Bryce Callahan, a defensive back with the Broncos last season. Went to Rice, played for the Owls, and he's definitely one of the best defensive back free agents left. And if you bring him in, the rich are going to get richer. You have Marcus Williams, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, and you drafted Kyle Hamilton. So you already have a really good defensive back room. This would make it even better. But with the moves that they've made in the offseason, with drafting Kyle Hamilton, we'll have to see what they do. He'd probably play nickel, so I think it would be a decent fit, but are they going to be willing to pay him a lot of money when you already have a really good defensive back room? I want you to grade the Ravens secondary heading into next season. Scale it 1 to 100. So if you want to grade it, give it an A, give it 93, 94, whatever, it's got to be somewhere in the 90s with how good this Ravens secondary is in 2022. Number 4 on our list, Joe Schobert, a linebacker, one of the best linebacker free agents available. And we talked about it just now with Callahan, but this is a very good Ravens defense. I think that offense needs to be somewhat of the priority right now for Eric DeCosta, adding to that offense, adding weapons for Lamar Jackson. But Schobert would be a solid signing, someone who racked up 112 tackles last season, and also 2 tackles for loss and a forced fumble. So he's someone that I think the Ravens will monitor as well, someone you can put next to Patrick Queen, who's obviously been phenomenal for Baltimore out of LSU. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Schobert. Maybe an under-the-radar signing for the Ravens if it can happen. And coming in at number 5, OBJ. Let's go. What would be phenomenal is if you can bring in both Jarvis and OBJ, reunite those two. Obviously, with OBJ, you have the torn ACL that he tore in the Super Bowl. Big question mark if he's even going to play next season. I think he's going to play, maybe a little bit later on, though. At the right price, this would be a great move for Baltimore. Maybe a 2 or 3 year deal, nothing too crazy. But if you have a chance to bring in Odell Beckham Jr., who after was traded, I shouldn't say traded because he was released, but after signing with the Rams from the Browns was phenomenal, proved that he still has a lot of gas left in the tank. I don't know if the Rams win the Super Bowl without Odell Beckham Jr. I really don't. That's how important he was for them, especially after the Robert Woods injury. So I think it would be a fantastic signing if they can make it happen. I think I'd rather have Jarvis Landry because he might be cheaper and he can play week 1. He's healthy. But Odell Beckham Jr. certainly a name to monitor as well. Let me know down in the comments which player from this list should the Baltimore Ravens sign. We're going to go back to it, so I want you to look at it again. But some pretty good names here, obviously. You got Jarvis, you got Jadeveon, Bryce Callahan, Joe Schobert, Odell Beckham Jr. Wide receiver, I'd say, one of the bigger team needs right now on Baltimore, so I'm all for signing Jarvis Juice Landry, and I'm also all for you subscribing to the channel. You can do that. The sub link is below. This has been Will Scott. Thanks for watching Ravens Rundown.